In this video, I'm going to show you how to create your own rubber band bass. But if you want to download my rubber band instrument and save yourself a couple of days of trouble, then just head over to the Patreon. It's available at the lowest tier, as is all of my other exclusives. You're going to need some headphones for this episode. This episode is of course sponsored by my friends DistroKid, and I'll have more about them at the end of this episode. The rubber band bass, something that I made for myself, but it's just too good not to gift to you guys. Let's jump into it. That was a good hit. In so much of my music, especially lo-fi, I've been using the sine-like bass, which is just a preset in Operator. It does fill up the low-end space, but it just lacks any kind of character. And that's where all these come in. I'm going to be finding these for days. Now, it really started with this band here, and anybody that has ever lived with a girl has probably found these lying around. So last week, I went about sourcing a whole bunch of different rubber bands and recording a whole assortment. I actually got really good at it. This is my rubber band measuring stick, tuning fork, I'm not sure what you want to call it. At first I was just recording rubber band plucks, but you can never seem to keep it at a constant tone. So this was a way that I could set the rubber band at new tunings and record that one legato note. This was the original rubber band project. I recorded each rubber band pluck at around a rate of quarter notes and tried to get as close to the note value as I could. As you can tell by that second pluck there, I was pretty much on C. So it was just a case of cropping that particular sample. From here, I wanted to make sure that I got rid of any excess rumbles, and I wanted to make sure that I got rid of that noise that was in the back of the mix as well. So I used RX spectral denoise. This gave it a great tone, which I was actually after, kind of like that stand-up bass feel. I then used Waves Tune Real Time, which I'll leave in the description below, which is of course mostly a vocal tuner, to just make sure that I was smack bang on C. And then from here, something that I rarely use, which you'll see in a couple of future episodes of Inspired By when we look at other instruments I'm creating for the Patreon, I used Corpus. See, from here, I can choose the tune in and in what octave, almost like the drum bus boom preset. And I can also move this space to get more or less rumble. This allowed me to just dial in that tone a little bit more. I added a limiter at the end and just resampled those sounds one by one by one by one. Once I was set on the sounds that I enjoyed, it was time to add them to chains inside my instrument rack. To do this, you want to create a chain and then drop all of your sounds together inside the rack. And then you'll right click and distribute those ranges equally. This process is quite fiddly, as if you don't have enough samples to fill up the piano roll, just like I don't, then you'll need to manually move these and then manually move the root note thereafter. To move the root note, all you need to do is open up your sampler instrument, come to sample and move this root note, and you'll see it moving in the piano roll as well. Once I had all of my samples laid out so that I could actually perform with them, it was then a case of making presets and adjustments to the sounds. So from here, I obviously added an auto filter, a glue compressor, and a limiter, but I made sure to map a lot of my presets, as you can see in the bottom right, and in samples here, so I could adjust my sounds as I'm playing. Despite this being called the rubber band bass, the hairband is by far my favorite. It's the most smooth sounding bass. Again, you might need some headphones for this episode. Of course, increasing the attack means that you're going to have a smoother sounding instrument. But bringing that down and increasing the pluck means that you're going to have a harsher transient. Adding some drive gives you more of an 808 kind of sound. And you can dial in that low pass to, of course, cut off some of those extra harmonics. Your release pretty much speaks for itself. Do you want that instrument to decay after you've let go of the piano? And of course, down in the bottom left, we have the 3 instruments that we've just recorded all the samples to. We have a fat band instrument. We've got our smooth band, which are the smaller colored bands that we showed. And the hair band that we just showed the presets to. We can also turn on slide notes. If you adjust that all the way to the right, you can now add a bit more portamento to these notes. Increasing that slide amount will adjust how long it takes from the lower note to reach the higher note. It's got a warm tone, it's super subby. I enjoy it just so much. I can't believe I'm reviewing rubber bands on this channel, but I really enjoy it and I hope that you enjoy it too. I've actually used it in 2 of my upcoming songs, which are coming out later this year. And of course, I released that music with the help of DistroKid, and you should too. DistroKid is a pioneer in the digital distribution space, and they make sure that artists keep 100% of the revenue earned from their streams. I've been finishing a lot of collaborations recently. I even have a track coming out tomorrow if you want to pre-save it or check it out if you're here a little bit late. And it's so easy to make sure that me and my collaborators split the revenue of this track. You just head up to splits, make sure that you set the certain percentage splits that you want, jot in their email, they'll receive a little accept button, and from once that track is out, you split the revenue evenly. It's that simple. If you want to get 7% off your first year, then just use the link in the description below. That's it for today's episode, guys. Thank you so much for swinging by, and I'll see you next time.